Put on your full Crusader set with the new Metatron Crusader t-shirt, available through Teespring. Link in the description below. Hello number ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking, and today we are looking at the top 10 greatest generals in ancient history, the greatest strategists, tacticians and commanders who ever walked this earth. So without further ado, let's get to it. Number 10. Sun Tzu, in Chinese Sun Zi. Although some scholars feel uncertain about the historicity of Sun Tzu, according to traditional Chinese history, he was a general, a military strategist, a writer, and one of the most important military philosophers of all times. He lived in the Eastern Zhou period of ancient China, in Chinese Dongzhou. Sun Tzu is traditionally credited as the author of The Art of War, Sun Tzu Bing Fa, a widely influential work of military strategy that has been acclaimed both by the East and the West as a fundamental tome of military theory. This work granted him a position in this top 10 list. Number 9. Miltiadis. An Athenian citizen known mostly for his role in the Battle of Marathon, Commander Miltiadis, or in Greek Miltiadis the Younger, rose through the ranks of Athens to protect his city-state. The Middle East and Asia was under the control of the powerful Persian Empire. Miltiadis is often credited with devising the tactics that granted him victory over the Persians at the Battle of Marathon. A man of great innovative intellect, Miltiadis was elected to serve as one of the 10 generals. He understood that the Persians needed to be faced immediately. His armies had to be firm and face them before a possible siege of Athens. Although seen now, a swift attack might seem the obvious strategy, the Persians up to that point were undefeated by Greek armies. This decision shows his confidence as a strategist and his willingness to accept risk. Miltiadis decided not to use the customary tactics of hoplites and asked for more hoplites to be stationed on the flanks to counter a possible Persian cavalry charge. He had the ability to adapt even the most traditional fighting force based on his own understanding of possible battlefield variables. Number 8. Leonidas, the warrior king of Sparta, in Greek Leonidas, is super famous for his intervention during the last stand at the Battle of Thermopylae, Imagi ton Thermopylon, in Greek, where he led the allied Greek forces, and then he was joined by forces from other Greek city-states, who put themselves under his command to form an army of 7,000 strong. They faced a Persian army who had invaded from the north of Greece under the command of Xerxes I. The idea that the army consisted of over 2 million men comes from the statements of Herodotus. Modern scholars, however, consider this to be an exaggeration and give estimates ranging from 70,000 to 300,000 strong. In any case, the ability of Leonidas to turn completely around the situation while facing an enemy with almost ridiculous numerical superiority, using perfect placement and the natural surroundings, carved his name into legend. Number 7. Attila. Attila the Hun, ruler of the Huns and leader of the tribal empire consisting of Huns, Ostrogoths, Alans and others. During his reign he was one of the most feared enemies of the Western and Eastern Roman empires, and that is one heck of an achievement. He oftentimes hindered Roman discipline and military power, causing great problems for the empires. He even managed to invade Italy, devastating the northern provinces, but was unable ultimately to take Rome. Attila was renowned for his ferocious ability to trample those who dared oppose him. Number 6. Cyrus the Great. The founder of the First Persian Empire, Cyrus the Great created the largest empire the world had yet seen at the time. Under his rule, the empire thrived, expanded, imposed itself with a sword, conquering most of Southwest Asia and most of Central Asia and the Caucasus. Cyrus began to expand its territories by first conquering the Median Empire, then the Lydian Empire, and eventually the Neo-Babylonian Empire. His major campaigns were described as having brought into subjection every nation without exception. Cyrus the Great is also well recognized for his achievements in human rights, politics and military strategy, as well as his influence on both Eastern and Western civilizations. Number 5. Julius Kaiser. Gaius Julius Kaiser, probably the most famous Roman politician and military general. He was the man behind the premises for the demise of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire. At first, Kaiser had 4 legions under his command. 2 of his provinces bordered on unconquered territory. At the time, Gaul was known to be unstable. He raised 2 new legions and proceeded to annihilate enemy tribes. This series of military campaigns was called the Gallic Wars, waged by the Roman proconsul Julius Kaiser against several Gallic tribes. Romans' war against the Gallic tribes lasted from 58 BC to 50 BC and culminated in the decisive Battle of Alesia. Yes, I will make a video about it, mamma mia. In 52 BC. It was a complete Roman victory. The Roman Republic could now expand over the whole of Gaul, mainly present-day France and Belgium. Militarily, the Gallic tribes were very strong, but Kaiser exploited their internal divisions against them. A lack of unity, while facing a uniform governmental body such as that of the Romans, was a massive disadvantage for the Gauls, and Kaiser could see that exceptionally well. The wars paved the way for Julius Kaiser to become the sole ruler of the Roman Republic, a brilliant tactician and an exceptional politician. Number 4. Hannibal Barca. Hannibal Barca, the leading Carthaginian commander who became famous for having kept the Roman Republic under his iron fist during the Punic Wars. Now, to fully appreciate what this statement actually means and understanding the weight of what he achieved, we need to remember one thing. At the time, the Roman Republic had established its supremacy over other great powers such as ancient Carthage, the Etruscans, the Samnites, and the Greek kingdom of Syracuse. Facing the Republic of Rome was inconceivable for most powers. Yet, he marched an army which included war elephants from Iberia over the Pyrenees and the Alps into Italy. Clearly, that's what everybody remembers. That's the most iconic piece of information about Hannibal. Remarkable indeed, but here is what most people don't realize. Hannibal occupied much of Italy for 15 years and Rome couldn't get rid of him. 15 years. In his first few years in Italy, he won dramatic victories at Trebia, Lake Trasimene, and the most famous Cannae. He distinguished himself for his ability to determine his and his opponent's respective strengths and weaknesses, and to plan battles accordingly. Although he was ultimately unable to march on Rome, his name will remain in the lips of the Romans for centuries. Number 3. Scipio Africanus. Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus, a Roman general and later consul who is often regarded as one of the greatest military commanders and strategists of all times. For this man, war and battle were a natural extension of his being. His main achievements were during the Second Punic War, where he is best known for defeating Hannibal at the final battle of Zama in 202 BC. Scipio also conquered Carthaginian Iberia, culminating in the Battle of Lipa in 206 BC against Hannibal's brother Mago Barca. What's impressive about this general is no matter what you threw at him, he would win. No matter the odds, he would succeed. His intellect, professionalism, and most importantly, wit allowed him to overpower the arch-enemy of Rome. He was considered a hero by the general Roman populace. Scipio had the strength to force his way of war even against the wishes of the Senate. He understood Italy was not the best ground for facing Hannibal and invested time, effort, and money into a counter-invasion of North Africa, which forced Hannibal to return to Carthage. Tactically, rather than arranging his forces in the traditional manipular lines, which put the hastati, princeps, and triari in succeeding lines parallel to the enemy's line, Scipio instead put the maniples in lines perpendicular to the enemy, a stratagem designed to counter the war elephants. When the Carthaginian elephants charged, they found well-laid traps before the Roman positions and were greeted by Roman trumpeters, which drove many back out of confusion and fear. Hannibal was a genius, and it took another genius to take him down. And so he did. Number 2. Alexander the Great. Basileus, or king of the ancient Greek kingdom of Macedon. Alexander the Great, or in Greek, Alexandros or Megas. He spent most of his ruling years on an unprecedented military campaign through Asia and Northeast Africa. The result of such a struggle, one of the largest empires of the ancient world. All of this by the age of 30. The unparalleled empire Alexander fabricated through blood and the sword stretched from Greece to northwest India. Most importantly, he was undefeated in battle. He's widely considered one of history's most successful military commanders, hence the epithet the Great. He never lost a battle, despite typically being outnumbered, which is key to fully appreciate his genius. He used terrain, phalanx, cavalry tactics, bold strategies, and the fierce loyalty of his troops to his advantage. He was a warrior king, personally involved in battle, fighting together with his men. He ruled in the manner of the Macedonian king, personally leading the charge in battle. Alexandros Omegas, the legendary warrior king. Number 1. Genghis Khan, the founder and first great Khan of the Mongol Empire, which between the 13th and 14th century became the largest contiguous empire in history and was only surpassed by the British Empire if considering land and sea in 1920. He came to power by uniting many of the nomadic tribes of Northeast Asia. He launched the Mongol invasion that conquered most of Eurasia, organizing his people, army, and his state to prepare for war. He made use of the impressive horsemanship of his nomadic people, their ability with the bow, unorthodox luring tactics, and perfect comprehension of geopolitical information to engulf 16% of the world with a Mongolian horde. Inciting internal revolt among enemies, Khan was not a man you wanted to outrage by your actions. His conquests were brutal. An example of his wrath is the invasion of the Khwarezmian people, where he completely destroyed the remnants of their empire, including not only royal buildings but entire towns, populations, and even vast swaths of farmland. When the Mongols attacked Samarkand, they even used captured enemies as body shields. The Mongols defeated the Kingdom of Georgia, sacked the Genoese trade fortress of Kaffa, and the destruction of East Slavic principalities demonstrated the advantages of the tactical mobility and speed of horseback archers. He used the high mobility of his archers with a long series of feigned attacks and faked withdrawals, which were designed to inflict a constant slow drain by ranged fire, drawing larger numbers of enemies away from the main bulk of enemy forces into ambush and flank attacks. Also, the Mongols made use of continual training and superb battlefield communication skills based on a system of highly functional flags. Genghis Khan takes number 1 of this list as the most effective general the world has ever seen. Alright, number ones, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember thumbs up, and if you're not yet a member of my community, become a number 1 for more content from the Metatron. Also, let me know what is your top 10 generals list, and write it down in the comments below. And remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Goodbye.